Hello, I'm Piers Corbyns from WAJuly2010.mov, long-range weather and climate forecasters. And now it's towards the end of July, and I'm going to give you a brief summary of events around the world in July in terms of our forecasts, and a quick look at how August is likely to shape up. First of all, for July, in Britain and Ireland, we made the statement in headline terms was the month would see stark contrast between regions and through the month. There would be thundery with some major deluges and flash floods in parts separated by warm or hot spells. And we also pointed out that the hot spells would be in the southeast and the rest of the country would be relatively cooler. This is in fact what happened in July in Britain and Ireland, and we're very pleased with that result. For the world as a whole, we warned there would be more superheat and super floods in Europe and the world, and these should all be driven by solar activity. So the British, European and world prognoses that we put forward have been borne out. In terms of the solar-lunar action periods, which we specifically predicted to the timing of a day where there would be worldwide events, these have worked out extremely well. Around the 10th to 12th of July, for example, we said there would be a number of breakdowns around the world, and that was confirmed in all the key detail of our forecast for land events in America and also for Britain, Ireland and Europe. And you can read about that on Weather Action News number 28. And then we had another top slap solar lunar action period around the 18th to 20th, and this was also very significant. For America, the initial formation of an investigation area for a tropical storm, which subsequently turned into Bonnie, was confirmed. And there was a lot of other developments around the world. In China, for example, there were absolutely massive mammoth floods and large number of deaths. There was a storm belt across America from Kansas to New York City. In the Sudan, 20 people were killed and thousands made homeless in floods. And in South America, it was the worst snow for 30 years in Chile, and there were super cold blasts also in the earlier parts of the month. And in South Australia, it reached -20, the coldest for 16 years on the 20th of July. So around the world, despite the talk of great heat waves in the northern hemisphere, there was actually extreme cold in the southern hemisphere. So the important thing about this month actually has been the contrast around the world, which we correctly predicted. And for global warmers to suddenly say, because it's warm in the northern hemisphere, this proves global warming is frankly very silly. To measure a year's temperatures, you have to wait a year, and you also need to have accurate temperatures as opposed to selected temperatures. But what we've predicted about solar activity is borne out extremely well. In Britain and Ireland on the 18th to 20th, there were some fantastic deluges in Liverpool where people were paddling down the street in canoes. Again, part of that worldwide solar lunar action period. Now, the outlook for August is continuing tendency for extreme contrast, but not necessarily so many or so dramatic as in July, except around the middle of August, around 15 to 16, we're expecting some pretty major thunderstorms in France and probably southeast England for example. And there will be other extreme events around the world, and we will be releasing these shortly on the web. So if you want to know more about what's happened or want to get forecasts for August, please come onto the website weatheraction.com. Thank you.